What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another buff video for COD Mobile. So today we are going to be discussing a buff for a weapon that surprisingly gained a lot of attention throughout this entire season so far, which is the Groza. It was a change to an assault rifle that I assumed a lot of people would kind of just hand wave. People wouldn't really make too much of a big deal out of it. But Bobby Plays, Noah, and a few other content creators have actually kind of set their sights on this weapon this season, which is actually pretty refreshing and nice to see because it's really, I guess it's really nice seeing a lot of people happy with these patch notes. If anything, this season has probably one of the best balance changes that we've seen in quite a while. And it's nice to see a lot of people, turning their attention to something other than the USS 9. But the Groza was really one of those weapons I truly did not expect would gain this much attention. However, at the same time, I understand why, because the changes for this weapon are pretty significant. So the Groza got an improved headshot multiplier going to 1.5 instead of 1.3. The chest multiplier also got increased from 1.2 to 1.3. And the VDV reinforce gives you a lower arm multiplier increase to 1.1 times. So with all these changes alone, you're able to 3-shot to the head a lot more frequently, and you're now also able to 3-shot to the chest within the first range, which can be extended for over 20 meters. So you could have that type of consistency at a pretty decent range. And if you also do decide to use the VDV reinforced barrel, which is, I would argue, the heaviest barrel for this weapon, it actually helps with your 4-tap consistency at, over 30 meters. That's pretty incredible for an assault rifle. This basically makes it, I would say, better than the Type 19 and maybe even the XM4. Of course, people kind of consider the horizontal recoil to hold back the weapon a bit, but trust me, it's not really that big of a deal. I'm confident that most of you guys that have been playing ranked for a while, or even just, people that are at an intermediate level would probably control this weapon very well. So I have full confidence in the player base to not really be deterred by something like that. But before the buffs were in place for this game, I honestly actually considered the Groza to still be a pretty good weapon. Even then, I would have considered it good enough to go against the Type 19 or even the XM4 or just anything that has like a similar fire rate to the Groza. But again, I think people were turned away because, both of those weapons I just mentioned, or actually no, the Grau as well also has a mythic, and the Groza is really the only one that doesn't have anything like that. It has 2 legendary skins. One kind of feels awkward, which is the one that you're seeing right now. And of course, the one that feels a little more comfortable, which was from that Zodiac, what was it called? The Zodiac Armory. So unless you have like one of those two, you're probably going to suffer a little bit because, again, the Iron Sight isn't really that appealing. So I think it would have been in most of the players' best interest to have a gun with a skin that's a lot more comfortable. If it had a mythic, it probably would have been, a top weapon. I think that's what kind of kept people away from it at the end of the day. That's why often sometimes I wonder how it would be if COD Mobile just added like some sort of feature where, putting a red dot on your weapon didn't really count as an attachment. It would probably have a lot of free-to-play players, grateful, or like at least, have them be more enticed to use certain weapons with pretty bad iron sights. But hopefully at some point, maybe they'll have a wild card that, like something like primary gunfighter where it allows you to apply more attachments. But I don't really see that coming in the near future. That's probably years from now. But as much as I didn't really use this weapon as much as I should, the times that I did, I really did enjoy using it. And even more so now, it feels really satisfying to hit those 3-shot chest shots or, just keep it at a 3-shot consistency. It's like when you could do that successfully, like in rapid succession, it feels like extremely satisfying because it's basically rewarding you for being more accurate. Of course, that's what multipliers normally do. They either punish you or they reward you. Depends on how your aim is. But again, like going back to like the public reception about this buff for the weapon, seeing Bobby Plays and Noah enjoy it, like it kind of it's nice to see that they're kind of getting a little bit of renewed faith in, I guess, the balancing system. When you deal with the meta for so long and you feel like there's just no other option but to use that meta weapon, yeah, the game's going to feel a lot stale. You're not going to really have fun with it and it's going to start weighing down on you at some point. But, just seeing how happy a lot of people are with these changes, it does kind of put a smile on my face. But anyways, I'm not going to stretch out this video too long. I just want to give you my personal opinion on, the buff for the weapon. It's absolutely incredible. But let me know what you guys personally think down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys next time.